Welcome back once again to howtocookgreatfood.com. If you haven't already, please click that button and subscribe to our channel. On the menu today, fish biryani, just finished, steaming hot. Takes a little while, this one. We've got to go through a few processes, cook our fish, cook our rice, get a little masala sauce together. It's really worth it. The fish that I'm using today, as you can see there, is kingfish. It's quite an expensive fish where I am, but yeah, very, very tasty. You could be using anything else. It's a bit like swordfish, for example, but you could be using a cheaper type of fish or a different fish. It's up to you, cod or even little whole fish. Entirely up to you. Let's cut that fish and get it ready. Okay, so you've seen that we've cut our fish. Here it is in the bowl there. What we're going to do now is we're going to add some lemon or lime juice, a little bit of oil, about the same amount actually, just to sort of get it on its way, just using some sunflower oil there. And then we're going to add equal parts of chili, like a teaspoon of chili and turmeric, and a little bit of salt. In that goes. Simply all we need to do is give it a little mix up, then we can move on to the next stage. Okay, so I've got a dry skillet here, some sort of pan you're going to need. There's our fish that we've just covered over. But there's no oil in there because there's probably enough oil with the fish now, so we're simply going to get it in. And for about 5 minutes, 4 or 5 minutes, on a kind of fairly lively heat, we're just going to cook this in there, fry it off. And once it's done, we'll set it aside and we can move on. Very simple. Okay, so off goes the heat. What we're going to do is we're going to just take all of our fish out, set that aside just in a bowl. Now if you're concerned that the fish isn't fully cooked, it actually is, but if you're concerned that it isn't, don't worry, because there's further cooking to go on. But we've got some beautiful fish ready here. Let's move on to the next step. Okay, so our fish is done just there. Let's talk about some rice now. So what we're going to do is we're going to soak our rice for about 10 or 20 minutes. Now I've got like 2 to 3 cups of rice there, of basmati rice. Now with rice, you really get what you pay for. There are hundreds of, well, thousands probably, of different grades of rice. Spend the money, get the good rice. Spend less money, you're gonna get something pretty rough. So yeah, always recommend that. Try and, spend some, decent amount on your rice. So what we're going to do is I'm going to wash it a couple of times, cover it with water, just let it soak for like 10 or 15 minutes. Okay, so for this next step, what we're going to do is we're going to get all of these ingredients and we're going to blend them in a multi-chef or something like that, food processor. Let's just take a look. So tomatoes, I've got like 2 large tomatoes there, 1 large onion. You can chop it how you like I say, we're going to liquidize the whole thing. Garlic and ginger, about equal parts, some fresh chili, and then powders here. For this amount, we're going with the big 4 that I always call that. It's like a teaspoon here of chili, turmeric, coriander, and cumin powder. So in a machine, give it a whiz, we'll end up with a nice, beautiful, pretty much instant masala sauce. Okay, and there you go. That's the result of the being liquidized. If your tomatoes weren't juicy enough, you can just add a touch of water. Mine were fine. That's beautiful, ready to move on. Our fish is cooked, our rice is soaking. What we're going to do now is we're going to drain that rice off. We're going to half boil, like 50 to 60% boil the rice now. Okay, so I've rinsed that rice off and I've cleaned it. It's got in there now. The rice is in with like 1 centimetre or so of water above it. Now we're going to add some aromatics. First, we're going to get some salt in there. Then I'm going to go with some cinnamon, green cardamom, some bay leaf, and some cloves. Now if you want, you can buy a biryani mix. It'll have loads of different stuff in it, including peppercorns and stuff like that. What we want to do, like I say, 50 to 60% only. So bring it to the boil. Remember, it's been soaked as well, so bring it to the boil. Let it cook just for like 3 or 4 minutes. Once it hits the boiling point, we're pretty much ready then. Okay, there we go. That's about half done. Off goes the heat. Let's drain that off. There's only one more thing to do before we get it together. So, draining off the rice. And by the way, all the aromatics in there, keep them in. They're lovely in the biryani. So here we are. This is our masala that we liquidized this a bit earlier. Medium heat. Just let that go for 5 to 6 minutes, stirring every now and then. Once it's done, we've got all the components, we can get it together. Okay, off goes the heat. That's been going for about 5 or 6 minutes. We're going to add some salt to that to taste. We're going to add a little bit of garam masala powder. Give that a mix. And then let's get over to the table where we're going to get this all together. Okay, well done for getting this far, because it is a bit tricky, this one. So there, we've got 50 to 60% cooked basmati rice with some lovely aromatics in it. We've got a little masala there, keep it nice and moist. Our fish there, fried. Additionally to that, I've now got some cilantro or coriander. You could also be adding a mixture of fresh mint and coriander. And just here, I've got like a teaspoon of turmeric with water that I've mixed up, which we're gonna pour right on at the end to give it a little bit of color. Let's do the build. Okay, so we've got a saucepan here. As you can see, I've put some of the masala sauce in the bottom. Now, if we were doing chicken or something like that, I'd be adding the chicken in layers, but this fish is quite expensive, as I said before. We're just gonna put it on the top. So what we're gonna do is go sauce, rice, like 2 or 3 centimeters of rice. Try and keep it as fluffy as you can. Don't press it down at any point. Then we're going to go a little bit more sauce now in there. Nice bit of masala dabbed in. Bit of cilantro in the mix, and like I say, you could be putting fresh mint in there. And then same again, we're going to just work our way up. See you in a minute. Okay, so we've got our layers done. What we're going to do now is add our fish in. Wonderful. Any little juices in there, get it in. Then I've got that turmeric mixed with water. Just give that a little mix around. And just a few little splashes here and there. That will give that rice a nice colour. If you wanted some red colour in as well, in the mix. What we've got to do now, we've got to get a lid on this as tight as we can. And we're going to put it on a low heat and cook it for about 7 or 8 minutes. So, dum biryani, meaning the word dum really, dum biryani is using pastry to seal this. So they put a pastry around there, put the lid on, and that seals it. We're going to just go with a lid, which I've got a lid that fits quite well, but you can get a lid and then get a couple of bags of flour on it, a book or something really heavy, but you want it really as tight as possible. Onto the cooker, low heat, 7, 8 minutes maybe, we're done. Okay, off goes the heat. Let's take a look. Get a bit of steam out of there for you. That looks fantastic. I'm very, very happy with that. Of course, with regular biryani, you could do some fried onions, crispy fried onions, and put them on the top. With this fish one, I just don't want to do it, but please go ahead and do it. Absolutely delicious. That's going to be really tasty. Nice fluffy cooked rice that'll be cooked perfectly now. That's it. I hope you enjoyed that. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. We'll see you soon. Lots of love.